So I just got back from seeing Searching, and I thought I'd just share my views on it, or my opinions, just in kind of a free-form video, bit different to what I usually do, a bit similar to what my Ant-Man video was, and just kind of tell you my thoughts about it, and what I thought about the film. Going into it, I remember seeing Searching first announced, and I remember seeing the trailer and seeing it was done on like just a computer screen. Very reminiscent of Unfriended. What I think this film did was it took everything that Unfriended did and made it better tenfold. When I watched Unfriended, I thought this was a really cool concept. I thought it was an interesting way of telling a narrative story just through like live casting or broadcasting one computer screen monitor. And I thought that was a really interesting narrative prop to use. But the way that Searching implements that into the narrative works a lot more cleanly than I think Unfriended ever could. Searching uses the technology of the computer and capturing the image on screen, but it uses it in a much more dynamic way, rather than just focusing on the entire screen as a whole, like Unfriended did. It chooses to focus and zoom in on certain parts of the screen that your attention should be drawn to. I think this made the film a lot more engaging in that way, because you're not just staring at the same thing, like you're not staring at the same rectangle for 90 minutes straight. And it's not even like it just does the computer screen, it also has FaceTime calls, it has like a live stream sites. Any way that you can see John Cho's character through different ways of interpretation on the internet, it's really just an interesting take on it. Like I say, they did the FaceTime, you see him like typing his text messages out when he's on his computer, you see like YouTube videos, and the way they integrate websites into the film is incredibly clean. I do want to give massive praise for that, because it just kept the film so interesting, and it kind of kept me thinking, like, where are they going to draw inspiration from to progress the narrative of the story. Obviously I don't want to give away any spoilers, because this is a complete thriller mystery film, and the story itself is incredibly well crafted. I don't want to spoil that journey that you can go on yourself, so I'll move away from that topic. In terms of John Cho and Deborah Messing, by the way, as the lead characters, they are both phenomenal. John Cho gives an incredibly moving performance as David, Margot, who's missing Margot's father. Deborah Messing, who plays the lead detective on the case, she's incredibly charismatic, and she plays this powerful character who can command the scene quite easily. In terms of performances for the rest of the film, I think all the characters that are kind of portrayed are done very well. I think there's a lot of mimicry or mirror imaging of people that you would believe would be in real life. Again, I can't really go into that without divulging spoilers, but there are characters and moments of the film where you could see someone like that, very reminiscent on like Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, and the film does an incredibly good job of making all the characters, even just the background ones, believable. I will say the film had it had an interesting knack of making all the characters talk very suspiciously all the time. So like a character wouldn't just text something as one message, they'd leave a deliberate pause and then send the rest of the text for suspense. There's a bit when John Cho is talking to his brother, and he's like, oh, after Margot's gone missing, and he's trying to figure out anyone that might know where she is, and he's like, oh, I've spoken to all her friends, but I don't know any of them really. And then he's like, he texts back and he's like, if you don't know them, and then there's a new text, who would? And it's just, I don't know, there was like, it didn't take me out of the film. I just thought it's obviously done for dramatic effect, and I just thought it was quite funny how they were implementing it. In terms of presentation of the film as well, the film opens with this lovely section of Margot and her parents, David and Pam, helping her set up her account on their family computer. And the film then progresses to do this sort of montage of her growing up with the family. You see her going through stages of school and early stages of life, and it's got all these home recordings in it and like pictures that they've put in, and it's really beautiful. I think it was such a moving part. I really didn't expect to be in this kind of film. I was just watching it and I thought this was genuinely such a moving piece of film. This just like 5-minute opening section alone, you could just release like a short film and it would be really touching. So huge props to the whole film on doing that. By doing that as well, I meant to say, the film also really nicely encapsulates kind of the beauty of being able to save memories and video in a modern society. I know technology is something sometimes the media like to grab on and say this is the worst thing that's ever happened to our society, and it was nice just to kind of see this film not disregard the ability to film important moments with your family, and how well it integrated that element into the plot of the film without ever feeling like it being condescending or it like back-chatting about how wrong it is to appreciate technology and memories and blah 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 blah. Following on from that, there's also a really great passage of time displayed just through the use of technology in itself. The film starts up and the family computer they've got is like running like Windows XP. So obviously it's showing that kind of passage of time, because by the time the montage ends and they're on like the new computer, it's all like Apple products and everything's obviously so much more clean and more recognisable to people today. But it was such a nice touch to see it move in that kind of time period from like XP to Apple. And there's even like bits where there's like a family video where they're like Skype calling Margot's dad, and he's like, "Oh, I got something for you," and he lifts up this Pokemon T-shirt, and Margot, as like a child, is like, "Oh, what's that? I don't know what it is." And he's like, "You don't know what Pokemon is?" And it's kind of hitting on that, I guess, nostalgia factor, but also just like really cleverly, just through little hints, showing that passage of time and placing the characters in a real world setting. It didn't feel like an unbelievable plot at all at any point in the film, and I think that the directorial choices made during the film doesn't feel like it couldn't happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I really appreciated that. I felt like it wasn't one of those kind of films that tries to encapsulate youth and technology, but because it's done by someone older and someone so out of touch that they just completely get it wrong. Like I say, the use of everything was completely believable for the characters involved. There are moments where music is incorporated into the film, but it's just done through like John Cho's character like opening a tab in YouTube and playing some music, and I thought that was a really nice way to make everything just seamlessly flow. I think it only happens once as well. Like, it was just such a nice moment, a little touch when I saw it. I was like, that's nice. That's a good way to keep your audience like in the world of the piece itself. With it being a thriller as well, there's obviously a lot of tense moments in the film. And I don't know if this was just like crossover noise from the other theatres or the other cinema screens where I was seeing the film, but there was like heartbeat. You could hear a heartbeat coming through the speaker system, and it was really subtle, but I think people that caught onto it, at least myself anyway, I was like, that's really cool, because you're feeling tense and you know that the characters are feeling tense, and there's that lovely fusion of yourself and the film kind of being as one in that moment. I don't know, maybe that sounds really like fancy and blah 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 blah, but I just thought it was a really nice idea and a nice way to incorporate the audience into the film itself. For the whole story of the film, with it being a mystery and everything, it does throw a few red herrings your way, and it plays them quite well. There's never an obvious moment as to who the culprit is, and with the red herrings, they're all believable that could be the thing, that could be the person, the culprit, whatever it is. Overall, I'd say Searching was a really good film. If you want an arbitrary rating out of 10, I would probably say like 7.5, maybe an 8, but definitely a very good film. I think it's something you could probably only watch once or twice. It's not a film where you could rewatch it and pick out all the little clues beforehand. I mean, maybe you could, but the film sort of does that for you when it's explaining how the case has been figured out. And I did really like that. I did like that it sort of harkens back to something a character might have noticed from before and be like, actually, maybe now we're all clued up, we're all on the same page. I just thought, yeah, that's a nice feature. It means you don't have to immediately go and watch it again. But you could watch it again, and you could sort of see the moments. Maybe there's more foreshadowing. When you know what's going to happen, you can pick out, because obviously when you're watching it the first time, you're not looking out for those kind of things. But I would definitely say that this film is worth supporting. At least in where I live currently, there are 2 cinemas showing it twice a day, and I think that is just it's a really unfortunate representation of this film. I think it deserves a lot more screen time, and I think if you get the chance, go and see it and go and support this film. That's all I want you to take away. I don't want to spoil this film. I don't want to spoil your experience going into it or coming out of it. I just want you to go and watch this film, and maybe you won't like it, that's fine, but I think it's such an interesting take. It's such a unique movie, and I think the execution is so good that I think it's just worth going to check out. But with that all said, that is all I've really got for you today. I just thought, like, I'd seen it and I was like, I can probably talk about this. If I've convinced you to go and watch this film, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. If you've already seen it, let me know what you thought about it. Try not to spoil it for anyone else that might have not seen it yet. But I hope you enjoyed this film, I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you've enjoyed watching or listening. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.